All right, welcome back. Thirsty Thursday, number 18, back live for you guys. We had a little hiatus for Thanksgiving, but now we're back. We have our first repeat special guest with Rob Frampton, Assistant Chief in Salisbury, Maryland. So started off right, boys. Cheers. Welcome back. Good to see you guys. Tonight we're talking about holidays in the Firehouse. Specifically, we're going to talk about how things are going and what we do, our traditions, the things we enjoy about holidays, especially the current holiday season, Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever other holiday you might be celebrating this season. As you guys, as we watch and as we're paying attention and kind of tuning in, if there's something specific that you guys do in your station, your firehouse, your state, whatever, please feel free to share it with us. We'd love to hear all about the other traditions that are going on around the nation, around the world. So please just drop that in the comments down below. We'll flash those up there, and we'd love to hear about those. Otherwise, you're going to be hearing about traditions and stuff that goes on the Eastern Shore of Maryland and Delaware and Southern Florida. So enjoy, sit back, grab a drink, and we'll kick it around the horn and see how things are going. So we'll kick it over to Trevor, and we'll get going.
All right. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us again for Thirsty Thursday. And like Ben said, we took a little bit of a break over the holidays, and we appreciate everybody who tuned in and also those who had to work on those holidays. I know all of us on the screen and everybody out there have worked plenty. Quick side note, I was at a evaluation for a rookie class the other night, and one of the instructors there had told the class that this past Thanksgiving was the first one she's ever spent with her biological family in her 23 years of adult life that she'd been in the fire service. And it's like, wow, how much does that ring true for so many of us, that especially if you get on that shift cycle where you wind up working all the holidays, if you're on a 24/48 or 24/72 especially. But nevertheless, welcome back, everybody. Here in a little bit, I might have to go inside. It's probably only in the mid-60s. It might drop down to like the low 60s here in a minute. So I don't know how y'all live like that up in that northern climate. But nevertheless, it's good down here. When we get the cold snaps, kind of ironically, in the first year I was down here, I thought the world was coming to an end. I was driving to work. I only had a few short blocks to go. And we had a cold snap, which meant it got down about the temperature it is now, maybe a little bit cooler. And I was watching these things fall out of trees. I'm like, what the world is that? Well, the iguanas fall out of the trees when they get cold enough. They don't have any dexterity, and they start raining iguanas down here. So I thought it was the end of days, but then I found out that's just, they call that cold weather. So we had a little bit of iguana rain this morning, and even down in West Palm, I was showing the guys over to your right, my left, city of West Palm. They have instead of having a big Christmas tree like you see in Rockefeller Center or at the White House, they have this huge, probably almost a 2-story sandcastle called Sandy. It's a Christmas tree in the shape of a sandcastle. Really, really cool. They do a light show. If it spools up while we're doing the broadcast, maybe I'll turn the screen so you guys can enjoy that instead of looking at me. That's much better to look at. But I want to kick it around the horn to everybody else. I'm really excited to get into talking about some of our favorite firehouse memories and some of the traditions that we either observed or actually probably started over the years while we were working the holidays and specifically Christmas. So with that, let me kick it over to Bobby, and then we'll go to our guest of honor this evening.
Well, hello, everybody. Hey, Ben, Trevor, and Rob, how you guys doing? So, yeah, 25%. We work at 24/72, thank goodness. And 25% of my time is with the fire guys. Fire and EMS guys. We live in a firehouse 25% of the time. So, I was kind of bringing it up when we talk about, how you keep the firehouse clean and how you keep your equipment right and things like that. That this truly is your house for a quarter of your time while you're doing this job for a living, And it's the same way in the holidays. We spend a lot of holidays together. I think in my, 29 years or whatever I've been doing this now for a career. I think I've probably been done, 18, 20 Christmases or something like that. So I'm pretty familiar with doing them at the firehouse. And so looking forward to the talk tonight and have some fun and Merry Christmas. And this is going to be probably the happiest New Year I've ever known in my lifetime. But at any rate, let's kick it over to Rob.
All right. Thanks. Well, guys, it's an honor to be back. And Ben probably asked me because my shift drew the short straw once again that we get to work Christmas this year. So I've lost count. I've not worked as many Christmases as Bobby, but I'm 10 or 11 or 12, something like that. But it's definitely a challenging time to be away from your family, but it's also where you're with that second family. Like Bobby said, 25% of the time you're at the Firehouse, and it's you try to make the most of it. You do special things, and they are your second family. And it's I'm kind of curious to see if we come up with some unique twists on different things to do that maybe we've not heard of or we've not tried. This year, especially with everything going on, is going to be challenging. Our department is not allowing families to come in, so there's no family dinner or whatever. So, that's been the custom. Thanksgiving and Christmas always was a big family dinner. Wives, kids, everybody would come in. But this year's going to be a little strange. So we'll get through it. And also, I want to talk about some of the interesting things that coming from a combination fire department that we can that we use to help some of my career guys that are on my shift get off to spend a few hours in the morning or evening with their family. So that's kind of a win-win for everybody. So looking forward to it. Thanks for coming back. Merry Christmas, everybody. And let's rock.
Cool. Thank you, guys. So let's go ahead and talk about Christmas and what we do. I think Rob brought up a good point, combination departments. And I don't know if this applies everywhere, but if you're in a combination department like we are in Salisbury, as a volunteer in that organization, if Rob calls and says, "Hey Ben, can you cover for me?" Or I got 3 guys that have young kids. Can we get some members to cover just a couple hours in the morning so they can have Christmas with them, or a couple hours in the afternoon or evening so that way they can still have their first family time. I know that's something that I've only participated in it once. I wish it could have been more, but having family out of the area, it takes me away at Christmas. But it's definitely a different feeling overall. There's not been very many Christmases where I've been away from the family. But the time that I was able to get away, that sounds terrible. Whoops. The time that I was away from my first family and had the opportunity to spend it in the Firehouse was just such a cool experience, a great experience. It's just a different day altogether. And it's a lot of fun. I had a great time that day. Still spent it with a lot of good friends. Did a lot of fun stuff. We always eat well. That's something that you can't ever say that we don't do. But some of the really special meals that we made those days, lobster, all kinds of crazy stuff, steak, and then the big like turkeys or hams or something like that. So, what has been your guys' experience for those holidays or for Christmas and Hanukkah or whatever we're celebrating?
And I'm actually going to kind of work backwards from my current role and then back to my Ocean City days. One of the really cool traditions that was already established when I got in this department here was that Santa Claus rides around on the fire truck on Christmas Day. And apparently way, way, way back in the day, they went street by street through candy at the kids. Well, that actually evolved into the fire department would accept wrapped gifts with addresses on them to deliver to the kids Christmas morning by fire truck. So what started out as a small gesture last year, I think, again, in the 4 years that I've been here, it's evolved bigger and bigger every year. We had 120 some presents on a fire truck. I squeezed my fat ass in a Santa suit for a couple of years in a row, but someone always plays Santa. This year, like Rob was saying, it is going to be different because now we're trying to do a contactless thing, but also maintain some of our traditions. So we're actually, everything old is new. We're still going to have Santa going through the community on the fire truck, but we also have to, we're going to just distribute candy from a distance versus doing the present delivery. And next year, hopefully be able to get back into delivering the presents. But it's really cool. When we show up at someone's house Christmas morning, we have a whole list of addresses. I've got a spreadsheet that I make every year. And, usually my office, I look like Santa's workshop. I mean, I can't even get any work done because there's presents stacked up. And it's got even to where the adults sometimes will send little token gifts to each other. And the first stop we make are the Marriotts. We have several of the Marriott timeshares here in the high-rise hotels. And so a lot of the families who are visiting, we just do one big, probably about 45 minutes to an hour. We do one big stop there in the morning, then we go street by street. So it actually turns out to be about a 7-hour day for us from the time we get in till the time we get done delivering. And it's really exhausting. And then plus, a lot of times the weather's great. I actually, not this past year, the year before, I bought a cooling vest like the mascots have because one of my firefighters who was Santa 3 years ago almost passed out. We were pumping bottles of water into him left and right. He's a young guy in shape, but it was just, steamy hot. But anyway, really great tradition that they had started here some years ago. And then, just as a side note, like I said, I'm going to work kind of backwards from some different memories and things that we've, done at the station. Probably shouldn't have done at the station, but had a great time incorporating the family. But just remember, it's all about your family, your fire service family, and the family at home that you might not be able to spend time with. You guys have already touched on a little bit. It's great when everyone steps up, and especially for the folks who have young kids, young families, and everyone tries to work it out for each other, whether the family can come in or they can get some time off to go. I know I've come into work for some of my folks, and say, hey, go be there when your kids wake up, and you will work it out. But for those of you who maybe don't have families yet, or are past the point where you have young kids and work's inconsequential to you, get really, really good at putting together toys. In the years before I was a parent, I got really good at putting together bicycles and kids' toys because everybody would bring their stuff in on Christmas Eve or the shifts before. All the people had young kids, and I learned a lot about just putting stuff together. So now, if I have to put together a kid's toy, I call it Tuesday, no big deal. But I really have to thank all those guys who said, "Hey, rookie, come here. Hey, Proby, come here. Help me put together my kid's bike," and it gave you a lot of pride also that you were part of their family's tradition as well. So I got a lot more stuff I want to talk about later on, but I want to kick it around to the other guys and hear what they have to say.
That's I got a little tear in the corner of my eye hearing how hot it is for Christmas time down there, Trevor. That's just terrible. I mean, it's just I don't know if I can get through the whole program thinking about the pain.
Some sacrifices have to be made.
Yeah, I guess so. So, I think it was awkward for me. I started off as a career paramedic here in Sussex County, Delaware, and I was young and didn't really kind of figure it out as far as working on the holidays and things like that. But for some reason, when I got to Ocean City, the kids were getting to the right age where they were really enjoying Christmas and those types of things. And the way it was back then in Ocean City, and you probably remember this, Trevor, when you got your vacation, they don't do it this way anymore, but when you got your vacation, you had to work there for a year, and then you got your 80 hours is what you started off with. And that was it. And you just got, if holidays came, you kind of got them. So I didn't have any time, basically. And I got hired in November, and lo and behold, I was working Christmas Day. So our boss back then was Clay Stamp, and Clay, I didn't know him at all. I knew a few guys from Ocean City, but I didn't know him really at all. I mean, he was my boss then, but I'd only been there for 3 or 4 weeks. And Clay called me up and said, "Hey, do you have little kids?" And I said, "Yes, sir, I do." "So you working Christmas?" I said, "Yes, sir, I am." And Clay said, "Don't come in until you're done watching your kids unwrap their gifts, and you have something to eat with the family, and then come on in." And that's what I did. And Clay took my spot. So our big boss came and took my spot in the firehouse that day. And then, you know what? As soon as I came in a little before lunch, he drove to another firehouse where another guy had young kids and sent him home and said, "Go eat dinner, take as long as you want," and stuff like that. So Trevor already talked about a little bit as crazy. You get seniority to be able to pick your vacation days, and then I can never use them. I always defer for the people that have younger kids, because my kids are grown. So I really do try to defer that. That's probably the best Christmas gift you could ever give a brother or a sister firefighter, is to allow them to stay home and see their kids. And whether it's a volunteer coming in to cover it or somebody else is covering their shift, it really makes no difference. It's a fantastic Christmas gift. It's not, there's no price to that. So I thought that was really, really cool. This Christmas, I'm working Christmas Day, and then we had a shortage of managers for the shift before me, and one of those guys that had small kids was going to have to come in. And I said, you know what, I'll just work Christmas Eve also, and offered that up, and they took it. And I feel fantastic, because just the thought of somebody being able to spend time with the little kids just warms my heart, whether I'm at a firehouse or not. So I think that's kind of the big deal. And I think a lot of us, the tradition in Ocean City at least has been, we always have what we call it the non-Christmas dinner. It's always like Ben talked about. It's always like steak or lobster or lasagna. It's never a turkey or a ham or something like that, or so on and so forth. And that's just kind of what our tradition's kind of been in Ocean City when we work on Christmas Day, which is cool, because you always have turkey for a week afterwards anyway. And I got quite tired of turkey this Thanksgiving, and the wife was mad with me a little bit. But anyways, we had 5 days in a row. I had turkey chili, I had turkey soup, I had turkey sandwiches, I'm not sure what else we had turkey in, probably ice cream, I don't know. But finally, after a week, I was kind of done. So, but that's kind of our tradition in Ocean City. I don't really, I'm not great with huge family events anyway, so I'm guilty of kind of enjoying being at the firehouse. There's not a lot going on. It's kind of an easy day usually. People are always, like Christmas Day, people are all friendly. It's really nice. It's kind of cool, churches are dropping stuff off. I mean, there's so much food. It's crazy how much food they drop off in Ocean. I guess they do the same thing in Salisbury, Rob. I'm not sure, but
yeah, definitely.
So that's my spin. Rob, you want to talk about what you guys are doing for Christmas and your traditions?
Yeah. So, it's kind of goes along with what Trevor was saying. I remember when I came on with Salisbury, I was the new guy, not married, no kids. And I offered to work. I was not going to take off. These guys who had kids, they could go spend time with their family, stay as long as they want. Even when my shift wasn't working at Christmas, I've covered for hours so that other guys could have that morning off or whatever. And I'm not going to go back to them and get my 6 hours back or 8 hours back from them. It is what it is. It's just kind of like Bobby said, it warms your heart to let yourself know that you're helping somebody be home at Christmas. And, now, married, my wife's family tradition more so is Thanksgiving. And, so the fact that we're working Christmas this year isn't really a big deal to us, but it does allow the fact in Salisbury, the assistant chief or the captain can be off, but you both can't be off at the same time. So this year, my captain has a couple of small kids in his family, and so he's going to be able to be off for that. And my lieutenant's going to be able to be off with his kids. And even I would say 2 months ago, I was approached by a couple of the volunteers here that offering to sign up to ride 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours. One of them was even, hey, I'm here for the full 24. And I think I've got 6 people that are going to be off or covered by volunteer personnel on Christmas this year, whether it be 4 hours or 6 hours or the whole 10-hour, 12-hour day part, which is really awesome. And, like Ben said, Ben's covered for me many times for small things and shifts and allowed me to get off. And it's awesome. It gives them great experience that they may not get on an everyday basis. And it gives them some insight into just exactly what the career half does, of not that we're any better or any worse, but it's just a different perspective. And, but yeah, so, it's kind of one of those things. I look forward to the big meals and the families coming. That's kind of the letdown for me, is the families not being able to come this year. But we were talking yesterday at work, and instead of doing the big dinner, we're going to do the big breakfast, and we're going to get everybody on duty, and we're going to have a big breakfast. And we actually talked. It's funny, Bobby said the not so norm Christmas dinner. We talked about doing lasagna for dinner, and everybody gets tired of turkey. And I did 2 turkeys for Thanksgiving, and it was turkey for weeks. But it's definitely something that challenges everybody, and but it's also good to be in the firehouse with that family. And sometimes we've done something a little off the beat, the secret gift, Secret Santa things. And we've had shift parties outside of work, and that's going to be a little different this year. We're each station is going to kind of do their own thing. So, which is cool because I'll probably get to go to 3 of them instead of 1. But, I just enjoy when we would have all the guys and girls together. And I always took a moment to just thank their families when we would have those things outside of work, because that's really the ones that do bear the brunt of it. And there's one thing that I think Chief Todd does when he's swearing in new members. I'm not sure if he started it, if it was done before him and he just carried on the tradition. But when you raise your right hand and you take that oath, your family is a part of that oath, and they're taking that same oath that they're okay with you working holidays. And you've got to have that support in order to make this work. And, I can say that my wife is 100% supportive of any time I have to go into work. Christmas, there's no belly aching or anything like that. And, so it's you definitely have to have the family support there as well to make it work. So, so back to you, Ben.
Cool. And I think we just brought up a really good point. Rob mentioned going around and thanking the families of the folks that are on his shift. And that is huge. If you've got the support and the buy-in from the family, there's not much that family and that member won't be able to do for you. So real quick, cheers to all the families of all of our folks and everybody out there watching. Thank you guys for making it possible for us to do what we love and do what we enjoy. And I think something else that I think Bobby mentioned it, whenever you're on shift on those holidays, and it's not, again, we're talking about the holiday season that we're currently in, but it's really kind of any holiday that we're working. Whenever you go on a call and whenever you have to interact with the public, those people are usually pretty cool. They understand it's a holiday. They understand things are going on. Whether you're incredibly busy, like a 4th of July in Ocean City, or it's the opposite and it's Christmas and things are slow and, something went to hell in a handbasket, and they call the fire department, and you show up, and, everybody, at least that's been my experience, is that people are pretty relaxed, pretty enjoyable, they're pretty respectful, as opposed to I would say the Memorial Day at 2:00 in the morning at Secrets. Some of those folks are a little different, but on the most part, on the whole, I think people are usually pretty agreeable on those holidays. So what are some of our favorite traditions that we like to do and throughout any of the holidays? Let's go outside of our current holiday season. Let's look at over the whole year. What's some of our favorite things and things that we like to do in the firehouse with our second family when we're away from our first?
Well, and much like Rob was talking about, one of the things that I always include in our badge pinnings is that acknowledgement of the family, because they truly serve as well. And, especially, we're all used to this, hurricane scenarios, disasters, even outside of holidays. We always make sure our people can go home, because if their mind is completely on their house and not at work, they're a danger to themselves and others. So, we always make sure that they're, rest assured that their family's okay and they've taken care of things there. But, we always do acknowledge that family. And, speaking of acknowledging some family, I see one of our brothers, Big Dub Wade from out there in Wichita, Kansas. So he's tuning in tonight. But, looking at some of the holiday traditions, I'll circle back into the Christmas. I know here, July 4th is always a pretty large holiday, a lot of crowds, a lot going on, and we usually bring in some extra standby crews. So with that, before we quote unquote go to work, when the fireworks are getting ready to happen, we have a big barbecue, and it's a family day. So the volunteers, the career people, we rent out we don't pay for it, fortunately, but we rent out the community center. Sometimes we're able to get some bounce houses, but we provide a huge barbecue, and everyone just sits there and cooks and relaxes and has a great time. They bring their family, they can go to the beach. Pretty cool all the way around. Pretty neat stuff. But even some of the other holidays, we're a small department where I am now, so one of the benefits that we have is being able to provide a dinner to the crew. And believe me, the crews can all cook, but we basically go to there's a couple great markets around here that will provide full, like, traditional things, and they'll portion it, they'll put it in pans, and so we'll buy dinner for the crew that's on duty, and if they want to bring their family in, that's great too. So we always make sure we provide for the crew, any of the police officers that are on duty, and also our ocean rescue folks who are on duty. So a lot of neat things throughout the year. Halloween, go through the neighborhood, doing, like, this year's a trunk or treat, which I'd never heard of that before. But one of the things I want to look at too is circling back to Christmas. Was when I was in Ocean City, same as what you guys were talking about. We'd always have, sometimes we do the traditional dinner, other times we do the very non-traditional. I had Jack Fisher on my shift for years, so we always do the annual wild beast feast. So whatever crap he shot out in Montana and brought back home with him, we'd wind up cooking and eating. And it has some really interesting meals over the years. And one thing I will say, you guys had mentioned how generous the public is, and also the churches back in Ocean City would always drop food off to us constantly, and we would have food for miles sitting in every single kitchen. One year I actually said, I'm not going to bring anything with me to work because the churches just load us up where you can't even see over the countertop. And that one year, I don't remember what happened, but I think every church assumed that the other one was going to drop something off, and we had no food at the Firehouse. So we were all like a bunch of refugees scrounging in the cabinet. I remember having my Christmas SpaghettiOs, and it wasn't even mine. I think they were May Krantz's, and he got pissed off later on that I stole his SpaghettiOs. But that was kind of one of the most memorable Christmases, because I almost felt like the Charlie Brown Thanksgiving where we had toast and popcorn. That we were just scratching everything together we could in the cupboards to try to make a Christmas meal, and we had a great time. It didn't really matter, but probably one of the worst Firehouse meals I ever had, but one of the best times I ever had at the Firehouse.
Yeah, one of the things that I think maybe Tim Keenan started in Salisbury was providing turkeys and a 5 or 10 pound bag of potatoes to each shift at Christmas time. And Chief Tall's kind of kept that tradition rolling. And that's always a nice gesture, when he gives you the phone call ahead of time and, hey, guys, I'm bringing this in. You guys can do with it what you want, whether you eat it Christmas Day or save it for the next shift or a month later. It's just always kind of let you know that the people at the top who were on that day working, were home with their families, were still thinking about you. In the Firehouse. So that was always something kind of cool that I always stuck in the back of my head. If I ever get to that level, that I would probably continue to carry that tradition on. I think that's just something pretty special about that. So
this is probably going to sound a little bit crazy. One of my traditions when I'm working on holidays is I try to do a super easy mini drill for myself. Be it masking up or, doing something like that. It tends to bring some kind of normalcy to me. So I actually like going to work, and I like being at work, and I like being in the Firehouse, and I like the training. So I kind of like, instead of just sitting there all day going, oh my God, it's Christmas, I kind of go out there and kind of do some kind of fire thing, usually not very heavy stuff, but just something, kind of easy to go on. And that's one of the things I think the message we want to send to everybody also is that, if you're working these holidays, just be careful about complacency. A lot of line of duty deaths have to do with people working overtime, unfamiliar crews, all of the things that we encounter every holiday is those mismatched crews that you're not maybe quite as used to as normal, and we kind of can let our guard down. So just be diligent on that day. Don't let complacency get you. I think it was Arthur Ashley came on here several weeks ago, and he talked about when he drives to work in the morning, he says, I'm going to a fire today. You know, and I think that's probably the way we should approach even the holidays going in, is there's going to be a fire today. What am I going to do? What's my position? What are my things and things like that? And for me, it actually gives me some kind of solace during the holidays, believe it or not. But I'm a weird kind of guy. But, you know, that's, you know, I really love what we do. 32 years of doing this, and I didn't want to do anything else. I mean, this has been a very, very fun ride. And part of that's just kind of keeping yourself in the game. And that's, you know, the other holidays don't bug me as much, I don't think. You know, Thanksgiving was kind of as big of a holiday, maybe even a bigger holiday for our family than Christmas was. But I'm not totally devastated when I go to a house with 30-some people and 10 kids. And I don't tend to always enjoy it a whole lot. But don't tell my family that. Hopefully nobody heard that.
You already know.
Bobby, you're absolutely right, and I know we can all. You know, the longer you've been on, the more you think about some of the ghosts of Christmas past, because we've had some great days at the fire station. We've had some of the worst days at the fire station on Christmas Day and around the holidays, just because we look at that as a time of peace and relaxation, and sometimes those are some of the worst calls to come out. And I do have to apologize. I just got a text from my wife. She said, "Where's my Santa hat? I meant to wear it tonight." And I totally blanked out on that, but. Looking at some of the guys who just popped up or who came up on the screen a little while ago, like Sack and Temple, worked with those guys years and years. And Greggy, I can't remember if it was around the holidays. Can't remember if it was a holiday or not. But we talked about some of those non-traditional meals, and I just remember we had, I think, like chicken and dumplings, and so, something exceptionally heavy. Really, really great meal. Somebody had the bright idea to have brownies and ice cream, and that's when we got wrapped out for a high-rise fire at 58th Street, and the elevators were out. So, it goes back to that old, fire service adage about not eating more than your mask can, hold. But, but I do remember, sometimes some of the best things come out of some of the most negative. Some years ago on our shift, I just remember. We were all there. All the stations were doing their thing. Station 3 at Midtown was going to cook the big meal, and we were all going to rotate through like we normally did. So instead of each individual fire station in the city cooking an individual meal, we just did a huge family style meal, and we would rotate the crews through and make sure we had coverage. And first thing in the morning, the senior guy on my shift got a phone call from his brother-in-law, and one of his brother-in-law's kids' friends had woken up that morning, and there wasn't anything there for Christmas, because the parents were actually huge drug addicts, whole big messy thing. And so this guy, my senior man's brother-in-law, called up and says, "Hey, what can we do, because these are my kids' best friends, and there's nothing under a tree. They don't have breakfast. They have nothing. Their parents are passed out in the bedroom because they've been doing drugs." And I still remember it vividly to this day. But the senior man on the shift called down to the owner of the Western Auto there in downtown Ocean City. I believe he might be related to one of the people who held your wedding there, Ben, at their house. But anyway, called down to the owner of the Western Auto and said, "Hey, is there any way we can get in there?" And we all put our money together as a shift citywide and bought bicycles for the kids. The owner of Western Auto came in, unlocked his door at early as he could on Christmas morning, and we went out, and the brother-in-law had invited those kids over to his house and said, "Oh, Santa's on the way." So we went over and told the kids that Santa Claus had dropped these bikes off at the firehouse by accident, and asked us if we could drop them off to you. And I just remember that as being probably one of the saddest things I've seen, outside of some of the tragedy of fires and calls and everything. But one of the saddest human elements I've seen, but just to see the joy on those kids' faces, and that was made possible by just the people on our shifts. I mean, these are just the brothers and sisters that we work with, and they put their skills to use and made some phone calls, and when you have a business owner who is closed on Christmas Day, has no interest in coming in, and comes away from his family. And this is a civilian. This isn't a firefighter. This isn't a police officer. You don't know if he had military background or not. Maybe he did, but came in to make sure that they could take care of a kid on Christmas. That was just a phenomenal thing. So kudos goes out to certainly the Baker family and and what they did for us in the fire service, so we could help some kids out that morning to salvage a Christmas for them. So, and again, that wasn't a chief, that wasn't a captain, lieutenant, that was the senior guy on the ship that said, "This is BS, and we're going to take care of this right here, right now." So, definitely up there you go, Sack. Thanks for bringing that up. Yep, Richard and Joyce Baker down there at Western Auto, they came in, and I just remember him coming in and goes, and to add to that, he wasn't going to gouge us by any means. He gave us the bikes at cost, and probably honestly he gave it to us underneath cost just so we wouldn't argue with him. But just phenomenal people when a community comes together like that.
I think that goes in with a lot of the other stuff that we've been talking about, just some of the really cool stuff that happens around the holidays in the firehouses. That time that we spend away from our family, that we're with these folks and our second family, and just the various connections that we have, so something like that pops up, and like it just happens. The situation just gets taken care of. One of the things that I want to show here real quick, you're talking to Assistant Chief Brian Records of the Salisbury Fire Department. And if you guys saw our Thirsty Thursday reminder, which let me share this again for you guys. Well, I'll get this figured out. This whole technology thing is new to me. But this picture, talking to Chief Records, he stops by the firehouse. If you know Brian, anytime he stops by the firehouse, it's not just a quick stop in and out. He's there for, as long as it takes to do whatever he wants to do. But stop by the firehouse. This is in the old firehouse, Station 16 headquarters company, downtown Salisbury. And they didn't have a Christmas tree. So what do? Guys go out. Brian goes down the street, gets I think he told me it was the most Charlie Brown looking tree he's ever seen. Takes it back to the firehouse. And here we have this gentleman here is the past fire chief, Rick Hoppus. I'll probably get a little chewing for this. I'm not sure who this guy is. And I do apologize. Rob, if you know who that is, please let me know. See if I can zoom in.
It's a little too far away. I can't tell.
I don't know if that helps.
It looks like it might be Tim Keenan.
Okay.
Looks like Tim Keenan or Ray Wooten.
Okay. So that we have an idea of who that might be, and then Assistant Chief Records there. But again, being with that second family, making things happen, and getting that Christmas tree to the firehouse, because that's what you're supposed to have in the firehouse, right? You're supposed to have a tree. And then I want to kind of circle. Go ahead, Trevor.
We'll circle back to me about the tree, because I think the statute of limitations is up by now. I'll tell you a tree story real quick.
Okay. All right. But I want to go back to something that Bobby had mentioned when he was talking about he tries to do his own little personal drill on holidays. And I don't know the numbers off the top of my head. I'm sure Bobby does. He's the numbers guy. But is there an increase in fatalities, rescues, that kind of stuff on holidays because there's more people at home during the fires, that kind of stuff that you know of right off the top of your head? So when we go to those calls, are we seeing more of that kind of stuff, if that makes sense?
I don't know. I don't. I've never really looked at those numbers. I know there's unusual people in unusual places inside these houses. So when they're visiting other people, and when you're in an unusual place and then you have smoke or fire in that place, I'm sure it could be more. But I don't know. Mostly what I based mine off of was the fact that when people work overtime shifts, there tend to be a lot of line of duty deaths when people are working on an unfamiliar unit. And things like that, but I don't have an answer for the holidays. I'm not sure if it's higher or not.
Okay, thanks.
Ben, the only thing I could add is there's definitely an increase. Research shows around the holidays with cooking fires. So, obviously when you're running the calls on Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter, they tend to be legitimate calls. Your kitchen fire, your grease fire, your oven fire that extends out in the cabinets. We're not at Christmas, but, we ran 2 kitchen fires yesterday. It's just a sign of the times. People are home. People are cooking a lot more. And, it's definitely the numbers show that. But as far as the deaths and injuries, I'm like Bobby, I don't know the exact answer to that question.
All right, thanks. I'll look that up, and maybe I'll have an answer here tonight, but probably not. So, all right, go back to you, Trevor.
All right, before I get into the tree story, I do want to acknowledge something that Zach put up. We really do have to look at the mental health issues, not only for the general public, because as we know, the suicide and mental health issue rate dramatically increases around the holidays, and we run a lot of those calls on the medical end as well, where we can't let our guard down. But even with our brothers and sisters, looking back earlier on in my career, when I was a younger firefighter paramedic and didn't have any seniority for almost a decade, I worked pretty much every holiday. I worked the shifts that other people didn't want to work, and sometimes you bury yourself in that a little bit too, just to kind of get away from some things. So we always got to remember those people that were serving, some of the struggles they might be having both inside our industry and outside our industry. Like you guys are saying too, there's a lot of risk with cooking fires. There's a lot of risk with people being under the influence of alcohol. Not that it ever happens during holidays, but also, like we said, Bobby brought it up. How many times have we seen firefighters get seriously injured or worse yet killed working overtime on a holiday or just working a shift swap? And it almost seems like the curse for a lot of these folks. So never be complacent and think that you're going to go into work and just like the old fire service adage says, that fire takes no holiday. We might, but the fire doesn't. So we always have to be vigilant. A couple of things, looking at that picture of Salisbury Headquarters Company, down there, back in the day. Station 3 Midtown, we always had to have a Christmas tree, and we had a variety of ways of acquiring those Christmas trees. I remember one night going out onto Route 90, which for those who aren't familiar with how the city is set up, there's 2 bridges that go over to a very rural area, and we decided to go out there and do a 3 a.m. mission to go cut down some spruce tree and put it back in the heavy rescue or Rescue 18 and bring it back into the city. That was one time. And another time we went up to Food Line to shop for they were actually open on Christmas Day, a couple days before Christmas. We were on shift, and we went in and bought our food. And this is back long enough ago that we were still riding in the jump seats that had the man saver bars on the side. And we were standing up the jump seats, which was probably not the brightest thing we could have done, but we thought we were pretty cool back then. But nevertheless, we went in, got our food, and our driver operator, which some of you guys know, Mike Myers, he was a big truck company guy, but he was driving the engine that night. We called him Cheap Charlie. We got in the jump seat and we're getting ready to roll and turn around, and there's this beautiful, probably like 8-foot Christmas tree sitting up in the hose bed. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Mike must have bought a Christmas tree. And only to find out later that we got when we got back to the station that outside of the grocery store where they had all the trees lined up, Mike decided to liberate one and just chunk it up on the hose bed real quick. So, we were kind of like, I guess we were considered the Grinches that year, but nevertheless, we had a really, really beautiful Christmas tree thanks to the Food Line Corporation. And, hopefully, again, we're outside the statute of limitations where, I should have used his real name, but maybe he can't be prosecuted now for liberating the tree from there. And I'm sure that the folks from State Highway Administration, that spruce tree has probably grown back out there on Route 90. So either way, we always had to have the big house evergreen in the fire station. So it was always a big deal every year to do that. Do our tree trimming thing, and the decorations that would wind up on the tree were just anything and everything that we could find. So I remember having a Mercedes-Benz hood ornament from a extrication that somebody picked up and put in their pocket that was hanging on the tree. There was like some piece of debris burnt 7 ways from Sunday out of an apartment fire. It was just, the most non-traditional tree, but nevertheless it was ours. So it's one of those cool traditions that you kind of start and you don't really mean to start, but I'm almost wondering what the fire stations in Ocean City have now. I was wondering if, Bobby, could you tell us if any of those traditions have continued or if they've morphed into something else?
No, I'm at Station 4 now. And Station 4, they did put a tree up. There's not a whole lot of ornaments on it, though. But it's a brand new. Yeah, my wife says you're supposed to take them. I got a bunch we didn't use this year, but I haven't done that yet. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow. That'll be cool. But no, it's just I thought what happens to us in Ocean City is that the churches really wanted to kill us. So they've decided that diabetes is the best way to kill us, and so they inundate us with. There's probably 10 layers of M&Ms and cookies and cakes and things like that. And not very many bananas come in, you know what I'm saying? Not very many apples come in, but a whole lot of that stuff comes in. So I always joke with them and say, you guys are trying to kill us, So I know a little bit about the mental health. I think it behooves us to just, tell people that, this is a very, very, very strange and very difficult year for everybody, I think. But the reality is it's much tougher on some than others. So we can never know what the battle someone else is fighting during this time. So I think all of us here at Strike the Box want everyone to know, keep your head down, keep moving forward, hang out with your friends at the Firehouse. They're producing a vaccine now. I mean, we're not going to be doing this crazy stuff forever. It's going to go away, and it certainly sounds like by next Christmas there'll be some kind of normalcy back. So we just have to get through this one and keep each other safe and keep our families safe. And I've never seen anything where what we did, I know it affected our family by something that happened to us and we wouldn't be there. I've never in my career ever seen anything that could affect your family by actually making them physically ill like this. So I understand everyone's under stress, but man, just get through this season. It's going to be weird. It's going to be different. And I think a lot of people say this. If you look at your blessings, if the roof isn't leaking rain on top of your head and the heater seems to be working pretty good and you got a little bit of something to eat, all those things, if you think about them, are really great, and that's maybe something for that. But what do you guys think about the mental health aspect of this? Have you guys got any messages?
Yeah, I was gonna throw back to Olson's message from the Thanksgiving message that we put out. One of the things that he mentioned was the strongest indicators of resiliency is making connections with people. So if you guys don't remember, he mentioned to reach out, make a phone call, send a text message to friends, family that you can't be with or that you haven't heard or talked to in a while, but to make that connection. And that's been something that they, I guess, have shown to help with that. So my phone is always on. If there's someone that you need to talk to, whether you like me or not, whether I like you or not, if you need something, give me a call. Rachel doesn't love that all the time, that it's always on, but it is. And if there's something that you need, somebody that you need to talk to, even if I'm not the right person, I might be able to get you in touch with that right person. So please give me a shout, shoot me a text, whatever you need. But don't be afraid to make that connection. There's a lot of people that I know I wish I talked to more. And they're not gone. It's just I'm not taking that time to make that connection. I wish I will. And I'm going to make that a goal for this year to finish out through this holiday season to reach out to those folks. So.
Yeah, I agree. And one of the things that a group of people I think they tend to get forgotten about are the retirees, the ones that have been here and they kind of go away and they don't necessarily come around the Firehouse anymore, and we forget about them. Reach out to those guys. They're the ones that have created the history and the tradition that Trevor and Bobby are talking about in a lot of their departments, and they've gone on to greener pastures and living their life down south like Trevor kind of still pretends to work, I guess, a little bit, but reach out to those people because they tend to be forgotten. And when they do show up around the firehouse, if you don't have their number, get their number, swing by their house, because they're the ones that saw it and really had zero support mechanisms in place, 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago for seeing the kind of stuff that they saw. To just kind of go back for a quick second, Bobby talked about fire training, but as far as fire prevention, one of the things that in Salisbury we do, there's a local nonprofit that delivers gifts to well over 100 families in and around Salisbury. And the ones that are in the fire district, the families that are there will send a ladder truck or an engine with them to deliver the gifts. And a lot of times those guys are taking the time when they're in that house to listen for that chirping smoke detector and replace a battery or, install a new 10-year, smoke detector if that's what we've got there. So, as well as, looking for, hoarding conditions in residences and things like that. Take those few minutes and maybe even educate that family that you're dropping the gifts off to. Hey, you've got that candle burning over there. It's a little too close to the bed or don't forget about it type deal, or your space heaters. A lot of these people are turning to resources to heat their house, at least up here, maybe not in Florida, but they're using whatever means are possible. Yeah. Right. And to heat their house and stay warm. And, just take a few minutes to when you're going around, if your department does those kind of things and helping delivering the gifts, to take a minute to maybe spread some fire prevention out there during the holidays.
Yeah, Rob, I agree with you wholeheartely. And thinking ahead a little bit too, once people start getting ready to dispose of their Christmas trees, I know there's a lot of great things like up there in Maryland. I remember the National Park Service would collect the old live Christmas trees and use them for sand collection on the dunes. But nevertheless, that's, when we start having these large piles of refuse after the holidays, especially the live trees in big piles, and a lot of municipalities do collect them, it becomes a fire issue, a serious fire hazard issue for us. I know, here in this municipality, we'll have, a stack of them sitting on the side of the road, and all it takes is, discarded smoking material or, somebody being careless. And, because a lot of times it's almost like being on vacation. People don't feel like when they're on vacation, anything bad can happen. They use that same mentality when it goes towards holidays. But, whether it's in the fire service or out of the fire service, I really think that we need to look at that and say, hey, we got to be safe during the whole thing. Let's enjoy it, not be overbearing. But, you're absolutely right. And, let's take care of each other during the holidays. I mean, you guys have already brought this up. Take care of the folks that are in our industry, whether they are currently on duty, just recently joined us, or they've been retired for, months to years. And, look through all the things, because as time goes on, things do change. And, even in your career and in your family, everything else, where you have, you have a lot of changes. People struggle through a lot of different things, and you have a lot of your personal issues that they might be dealing with. So, let's make sure we remember them, not just during the holiday season, but year round. And there's a lot of mechanisms out there by which we can do it. I'm not a big social media guy, which I know Ben and Bobby kind of, bust my chops about that quite often. But nevertheless, it always helps.
He's a rotary dial guy.
Yeah, I know. Hey, I get into a plumbing, I'm happy. But even at that, also, remember, and this kind of goes back to, when we talked about the family serving, a lot of times our focus gets so entrenched on the job that we kind of forget about what's going on at home. And, I'm just guilty of that as anybody else, where you got stuff going on at work, and you might just come home and not be the most pleasant individual in the world when it comes to having to tolerate things, because you're trying to get in that problem solving mode. And sometimes your family just wants to talk to you and say, hey, how's your day? And not have you solve every problem in the world for them. So that's just one of the things that we got to be cognizant of ourselves as well. That while we're serving everybody else's family, while we're here on the holidays, remember our families too, and take that little extra effort. And I'll give you a quick example. Our son, years ago, he was, I think he still is, maybe a little bit, he was really into model trains, like the electric trains. And he wanted a big train table set up, and back when he lived in Ocean City. And it's been one of those things. Yeah, we'll get to it. Well, now our son, and I'll call him in here in a little bit. He's getting ready to turn 13 this weekend, and I'm like, oh my God, is he going to be 25 years old and getting married? I'm like, oh hey son, I'll build you that train table. Yeah. So look at those priorities, and don't keep putting them off, because eventually you run out of time. So, but anyway, I'll before the end of the show, Ben, if you don't mind, I'll make sure little man's watching, and if you guys don't mind, we'll wish him a happy 13th birthday, because he's currently 12 going on 25. But yeah, I do want to wish him the happy 13th coming up. And real quick, before I go back around the horn, Rob had mentioned before about the Christmas parties, and I got thinking, I just still laugh like crazy. We used to do in Ocean City on my shift, and I worked on every single shift in Ocean City over the years, but I just still remember one of the shifts I was on for the longest time. Every year, our traditional shift-based Christmas party, we would go to I think it's Tokyo Steakhouse up there in Salisbury, the hibachi, the Japanese steakhouse. Completely has definitely not traditional food. We had the best freaking time, and I just still remember, Larry Buchanan would always get his drink, and he would set it and leave it alone. And between like Alan Schweitzer, God rest his soul, Chrissy Schaefer, they would take his drink and they would set it on the hibachi while they were warming it up, and his ice would melt, and he started getting on the waitress about, honey, this drink's watered down. This is horrible. Can I get another? And it was just hysterical stuff we go through, but the families would be there, and it was just a lot of fun back in the day. But Rob, thanks for bringing that memory up, because I had completely forgotten about that until you had mentioned it. So Rob, I definitely appreciate that, brother.
Hey, so I just couple of things real quick. One, I did find some. It's not incredibly current, but a little bit of information. So this is from 2001 and 2. So it's a little older, but here that chart is saying between December 1st, January 7th, the average dollar loss per fire was 6,245, injuries 12.7, and fatalities 2.5. And then if you go over for holiday fires, Christmas tree and decoration fires, you can see that there is definitely an increase in both dollar loss per fire, injuries, and fatalities. Again, that's 18, 19 years old, but I'm sure that trend is probably still pretty consistent. So there's that. And then, Rob, you had mentioned there's a nonprofit. Is that Santa's Angels that you were talking about?
Yeah,
Talk about that real quick, because that's a great program.
So it's run through a local church, and basically they use the Wycomico, Worcester, Somerset. I think they go into Dorchester a little bit, and Sussex Board of Educations to identify families that are in need during Christmas. And they have fundraisers throughout the year, various things, online auctions this year. They used to have shows and auctions, and they have dinners at Texas Roadhouse and things like that. And basically they then people in the community go out and buy the gifts with either they can be reimbursed or they can make their donation, and they wrap the gifts and they deliver them to the church. And then we assemble at the church, usually December 23rd, December 24th, something like that. We dress up 10 to 13 Santas, and we go out and throughout Wycomico, Worcester, Somerset, Sussex, and Dorchester and deliver the gifts. And I've been on shifts where we've adopted a family and actually have gone out and bought the clothes that the group will give you, the sizes and the ages of the kids. And as a shift, you'll go out and somebody will say, hey, I'll buy the toys, and I'll buy the pants, and I'll buy the shoes. And, we usually give, mom a robe or some bed sheets or something like that, and dad some socks and a pair of jeans or something. And it's kind of a cool thing that the shift can do. And then the shift can actually have a part in delivering the gifts to that family, and the family has no clue where they come from. So it's kind of a secret mission, and you're able to see the true need within the community. And our local for the union usually adopts a family, and so the guys on the fire engine working that day when they go out, they'll actually get to see them, see the family in need as well. So it's definitely moving. I think I've been a part of it now for probably close to 12 years. And it's every year there's a story that I can tell you that's just crazy for the need at Christmas, not just at Christmas time throughout the year, but it's definitely observed during the Christmas season more so. So yeah, it's we've got a Facebook page, reach out to it. It's Santa's Angels. And you can certainly contact me if you're willing to help, want to help, donate, deliver gifts, wrap gifts, buy gifts, whatever. So we don't turn anybody away. So thanks, Ben, for bringing that up.
Yeah, thank you. And what I'm going to try and do is try and share the page through Strike the Box. So if anybody's interested in Santa's Angels, I'm sure you guys have probably wrapped up for fundraisers for the year and are getting pretty squared away with families and everything for this holiday season. But I'll try and share that page through Strike the Box. And if you're interested, please go check it out.
We never turn away donations. So this year it's 150 families that we'll reach out to. So
holy cow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, with that, let's we're just at an hour, so let's go ahead and kick it around the horn one more time. And I'm going to try, while we're doing that, I'm going to try and get something shared up on the screen here again for us. So take it away.
All right, thanks, Ben. Just to end everything out, just want to thank everybody who tuned in tonight, and especially those who are going to be working on the holidays. I hope we were able to bring you a little bit of levity and just share some of our experiences with you and go down memory lane a little bit. But just remember all the different people who work on the holidays. It's not just the fire and EMS and rescue service, but our military, our police officers, our hospital workers, our transportation workers, even the people who might be working in the hospitality or food service industry. I mean, a lot of times we go out to pick up a meal at whatever place might be open on Christmas Day, and somebody's working. So, remember all those people, because they're spending time either isolated or away from their families as well. So, it just goes to say a lot for the people who make sure that we keep the wheels of progress moving every single day and are there to protect us. And thank you all you guys for being here tonight, and again, for helping us share some good memories. And maybe if you don't have any department right now, start one. There's nothing that says that you have to go back to anything that you used to do, or if you don't have anything going on, now's the time to start. Certainly keep it within due bounds, because you don't want to have anything crazy that you can't replicate later on. You'll certainly be able to say, wow, that was a great Christmas, but you want to be able to say that about successive ones over the years. And thank you to, again, everybody who's contributed tonight. One thing I do want to say real quick, I brought it up a few minutes ago, but my son has been part of the Christmas tradition down here in Palm Beach Shores. He's, again, getting ready to turn 13 this weekend, and he would come in, and my wife both would come in on Christmas Day. And I felt kind of, unbalanced a little bit with it, because I'm like, wow, I need to spend time with my guys at work, and I need to spend time with my family. And my family stepped up and said, well, let's just go in and let's help deliver Christmas presents. We do our Christmas ass crack of dawn in the morning anyway, except now that my son's getting ready to be a teenager, he doesn't quite get up as early. But nevertheless, they come in, they help deliver presents, they go around, they ride on the truck. My son, he'll go and help deliver presents, and he does it every holiday. At St. Patrick's Day, not this past year, but pre-COVID, he was running around handing things out. But anyway, just wanted to take a minute, if I could, if you guys would indulge me, and wish little Kai, I can't call him little because he's, I think almost 110 pounds now. But there he is a few years ago. So that's not quite a recent picture, but that's Liz and my son. So he'll be 13 this weekend, and
dang it.
So just want to wish you a happy birthday, and thanks for being part of not only my family but the fire service family as well, brother. So look forward to this Christmas as well, and happy birthday this weekend, Kai.
Happy birthday. He's 13.
Happy birthday, Kai.
Well, we just want to say Merry Christmas too. Timmy came down, my younger son, and we want to just say Merry Christmas to everybody. And Kai, we're sorry we couldn't do the cruise with you this year, buddy. Right? But next time, right, Timmy?
Next time.
Can you say Merry Christmas to everybody?
Merry Christmas, everybody.
All right, buddy.
Merry Christmas, Timmy.
Merry Christmas, Timmy.
Merry Christmas, Timmy.
That's all you get out of Timmy.
Hey, tell him Mickey Mouse said Merry Christmas too, because I know he likes Mickey Mouse.
Oh, he does that. He ain't lying. Mama spoils him.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to everybody. Thank you to the guys and girls on my shift. You guys are awesome. You make me look good every day. Thank you to the families of everybody that's out there that's going to be working on Christmas. Thank you for giving your support to them. I like Bobby's idea, doing a small little training thing on Christmas. Definitely going to take advantage of that. And just don't forget those people that have retired or no longer in the fire service. Make sure you reach out to them. So I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. Stay safe, stay disciplined, and enjoy the holidays. And when you're off work, enjoy your family.
Well, thanks, guys. Chief Frampton, for your training, are you going to do one of these, like check your recliner, make sure it works well? Is that the training for the assistant chief that day?
It might be. You never know what I might get into. But they got those new recliners at the Firehouse now, so they're nice and comfy and cushiony and stuff. So
yeah, I haven't tried those yet. I'm going to have to see one.
Chief Stevens' workout.
Excuse me. They are not recliners. They are orthopedic rehabilitation devices.
They take the stress off my lower back.
Exactly. It's actually injury prevention. So way to be thinking ahead there, Chief.
So with all of that being said, we're going to wrap it up here for a Thirsty Thursday number 18, Holidays in the Firehouse. Thank you for everybody that joined us. Bobby, if you could tell Timmy I love this shirt. Cheers, guys. It's always good to hang out with you. Rob, don't bring that empty cup around here. So thank you guys again for joining us tonight. Rob, it's always great to sit back, have a conversation with you and chat. To everybody watching, thanks for joining us. We really appreciate you being here. Looking forward. So we've been talking with Trevor and Bobby about where we want to go in the future with our topics. We've got some really great stuff lined up. We've got Chief Kurt Isaacson from Escambia County, Battalion Chief there. He also runs County Fire Tactics that's going to be joining us. We've talked about some great folks from Ocean City, some great folks on driver operators. So we've got a great lineup to start out the new year. Excuse me. So please continue to watch our social media and see what we've got coming for Thirsty Thursdays. Additionally, we've got some other great surprises coming up. So again, just keep an eye out, see what we got going on. And with that, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays to everybody, and hope you guys stay safe. Reach out to your friends and family, take care of them, and take care of yourself and your crew. With that, have a good night, and thanks again.